tonight, let's get started. I'm looking forward to last chance tips. No matter where you live, sometimes my screen gets compressed and words fall on top of each other. I don't know why that happens. But anyway, so now what I want to talk about is why it doesn't matter where you live. Some people think, oh, I don't know if I can, watch a beekeeper that's in the South because I'm in the North, or I can't watch a Northern beekeeper because I'm in the South. Listen, I teach biology. I teach beekeeping biology. It doesn't matter where you live, right? People don't understand that. So you might have to adjust when your bees are doing it. But like the example I'm going to use tonight is before the temperatures drop below 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a rule no matter where you live. All right. You can live in Alabama, Canada, New Jersey, or California. This teaching tonight has to do with us dealing with the environment we live in. Okay. And this is important to remember tonight. What I'm teaching is that things that are last chance tips, once we get where the daytime temperature, I'm referring to the daytime high, if it won't climb above 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius, I'm not comfortable lifting a frame of capped over pupae up out of my hive because I've done it before and I've actually damaged them by chilled brood. So if, they're pupating. And so if you don't know what pupating means, it means they're below the cap cells, they're pupating, and they're essentially in a climate controlled, temperature controlled incubator in the hive around 92 upwards of 96 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what that pupae has to be in. When we pull it out of the hive and expose it to a 65 or below temperature, we can actually damage the brood. As you can see here, do you see some of the damage in that picture? Some of the larvae, some of the brood is damaged. And what happens, that pupae will die. It will actually never emerge, and the bees detect that. They know that you pulled it up too cold, and it will kill that brood, and they will open it up and remove it, take it outside the hive. So please be careful about that. We've got to think about those things. All right, let's move forward now that we have established our kind of our point of when we have to do things and at what temperature. So we're going to be doing some final inspections before the cold weather hits. In other words, I think after maybe it was Sunday that I saw on my weather app, it's going to be really tough for me to get into my hives over the next 10 days. There's 2 or 3 days I can finally do something before that happens. But after this weekend, it's going to be cold. It's going to be right at the level of, kind of marginal 60, 61. It's really going to be too cold for me to get in there. So think about that. You'll probably have a warm day. We all will, where you can do your final inspection, but be planning for it, that you're limited on what you can do now, how many times you can actually inspect your bees. But when you get that chance to make your final inspection, you need to look at it as your final inspection. Like, ooh, it's warmed up now. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get ready for winter. So you're going to evaluate your brood. You're going to look at your queen, see if she's laying eggs. You're going to evaluate your resources. You might want to do a mite test, and you might want to look about spacing. Do you have too many boxes on there? Do you not have enough? Do you need to combine because your hive is really weak and maybe they're queenless, so you need to combine it with a queen right hive? All of this is going to occur. I know it's a lot of work. I've never said beekeeping is easy peasy, whatever that word is. I've never claimed that. Beekeeping is hard. It's hard work. So you're going to have to put in a little more effort in the next week or 10 days, depending on where you live. You might get a little more warmth, but whatever that temperature is where it's going to be too cold to get in there and get the things done that you need to do so you don't get caught by cold weather. Secondly, last chance tip, you need to do a final mite test and a final treatment of your mites. Now, I know that some treatments you can continue using or doing in cold weather. Now, it's difficult to do some treatments in colder weather because you can't open your hive. You shouldn't open your hive in cold weather. You know what I mean? So some things require opening the hive and putting strips in, So that's going to be difficult. But those of you that use oxalic acid, and in that case, you're not opening your hive. Many people use oxalic acid even in the winter time when the bees are at a lower brood point, and because oxalic does not kill mites below the cap cells. So it can be used in colder weather. The disadvantage of that is if they are clustered together, the OA vapors may not penetrate in and around in the middle of the cluster area. It may be fanned away, or it may not have a good coverage to kill all the mites in a cluster. That's the downside, but it's worth a try. So there are still a few things that you can do to control mites in the wintertime, but mainly it has to be done now. You want to go into winter with low mite counts. So this may be your last chance to do a mite test. Wipe your brows, say, oh my goodness, I feel like I got a low number. I feel good about that. Or you may want to hustle right now and do some treatment. But let me warn you, everybody listen up. If you're going to use a treatment that has to stay in the hive, some treatments are in the hive 42 to 56 days, that's going to hurt you because it may turn cold enough that you're going to have to open up your hive in cold weather, and they're going to be exposing that pupae again. So think about that. Don't get into any long-term treatments if you don't have much warmer weather in front of you. That's really good to note that. And also, number 3, last chance tips is to feed 1-to-1 as long as the temperature is above 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius. In other words, bees aren't going to consume your liquid in jars above your hive very much once the daytime temperature gets below 50 degrees. So ideally, like all next week, it's going to be 60 Fahrenheit around here. I'm going to be able to get my bees fed really well that whole week. They're not foraging at all now. I mean, it looks like they're in for winter in my neck of the woods. There's nothing going on out on the entrances. Crazy. But feeding them is going to help a bunch. So do feed your bees. I know a lot of people will depend on them having enough honey, bee bread, nectar on board, but why not go an extra mile and just give them a little bit more food? What is it going to hurt? I know it's expensive. If you can't afford it to buy sugar and mix it, and you've got enough in there, I understand. Times are difficult, but that's fine. But if you can't afford to give a little bit of a little bit of sugar water to your bees, I recommend 1-to-1. If you're new to my approach, I don't use 2-to-1 because I want to raise diutinous bees, winter bees that live 4 to 8 months. So I'm feeding now to raise winter bees that will help my colony survive winter. And that's why I feed 1-to-1. I feed my bees all winter. We'll talk about that, in upcoming live streams. But since I feed my bees a hard candy all winter, I don't have to worry about 2-to-1. That's the difference. Also, some last chance tips might involve wrapping. A lot of discussion is about wrapping. Listen, some of you are going to be tempted to ask me wrapping questions during the question and answer time, and that's fine. But listen carefully because I may cover it here. Sometimes you ask me questions that I teach on. But anyway, here's a picture of me back when I had nice hair and a young man. And you can see back in those days, we really practiced wrapping our hive with roofing paper. It's what we call black tar paper. Back then, you could buy 2 different kinds, a real thin kind and a thicker kind. So we would buy the thicker kind, and I use a stapler. I didn't have a battery-powered staple gun back then. I don't think they were invented. We just use a stapler. What is that? A big T51? I forget what it's called, but a big stapler, and you just staple your roofing paper into the hives, and you do that. So I've made videos on how to put in roofing paper. It didn't do much with an R value. It did soak some sun up because it was black, and I felt like it was a good wind block if the hives had some holes in them. Now, the next picture is I made a video years ago. I've been on YouTube for 17 years. That's right, 17 years since 2008. So I've made over 1,000 videos for you guys. But this video that I made, I used foam board. And you can see here, this was probably 10 years ago, but I actually use foam board. I made a video on how you could cut one side of it and make a hinge so you won't have to cut pieces. I showed you how to measure it so it fits right onto a hive by just cutting not all the way through and using the hinge part to fit perfectly around the hive. And it's reflective. It's got a better R value. You can buy these at Lowe's or Menards or Home Depot, all these stores like that. You can buy that. And what I want to well, let me show you the next slide. I'll talk about that. I'm talking about a windbreak. So this has been the winter. I mentioned this in my last live stream when I was speaking in Springfield last week, but I wanted to hit on it again. Bat insulation has by far had the best effects on my bees. They really have. I live in Illinois, so I don't get a ton of rain in the wintertime. It never got soggy. I was afraid it would get soggy or wet. The fiber would hold it, but it doesn't. And I keep using the same pieces over and over again, believe it or not. But one of the things I want to point out is leave room for the winter be kind board. So notice I take it right up to the bottom of the top cover, because once I take that top cover off, my winter be kind candy board fits right on top of that box, candy side down, and then tops on side of that. So there's room. I can wrap it, and I don't have to wrap it so that it's done for the winter. Like some people wrap them, never touch them again. I don't do that. I have to take my top off, winter be kind off, change it out, more candy on there. So I take it right up to that candy board, but then I can move the candy board on and off real easily. Okay. Do you understand that? So wrap, if you want to wrap, I think wrapping is a good idea. I'm moving toward liking wrapping more and more because bees have a lot going against them. I've always said a weak colony can always benefit from being wrapped. Well, 50% of all colonies are weak because 50% of backyard beekeepers' bees die in the wintertime. So maybe if we do wrap them, that might give them the edge. Wrapping's not going to save a sick, dying, virus-filled hive that's weak on population or has a bad queen in it, a low-laying queen or something. Wrapping is not going to make a difference there. Feeding won't make a difference either. But you just want to throw everything you can to try to get your bees through winter. I understand that. Why not, right? And then right now you need to think about plan ahead. You're going to be feeding your bees in the wintertime, whether you use a fondant, some of you like fondant, or if you want to use our winter be kind boards that we've made for 15 years now, and thousands of beekeepers buy them each year. And these are candy filled insulated top pieces with a little vent for bees to potty in the wintertime. They don't ship out until December. You don't need them until then. Your bees should be fine. But anyway, these, whatever you use, make sure it's on hand. Buy it now. Don't wait and not have a way to feed your bees. I think it's a good idea to feed your bees in the wintertime, no matter what. I know you might think honey's on there, they're going to be fine, and that can be, but sometimes winters are harder and longer, and they eat through their food and they can starve out. So it's an insurance plan. None of us like paying for insurance, but we like it when the insurance comes through and saves the day. Okay. So this is an insurance plan for your bees to make sure they don't starve to death. It's important. And another tip, last chance tip, secure your hive. You need to go through your hive. I don't know what happens to my boxes, but man, they get holes in them. My hive tool can weaken the corners. There can be gaps. I have a bunch of old boxes that I keep using until they turn to dust. I'm cheap, but old boxes might need holes repaired. Buy some metal tape. I love metal tape. You can use Gorilla Tape. It's hard to get Gorilla Tape off, but metal tape for ductwork, I like that stuff. And I can repair hive holes with metal tape. Keep the bees from trying to, get a wind going through the hole. You might want to level your hives too, because here where I live in Illinois, our ground really shifts during the winter, freezing and thawing. It really does. And what looks level now after in the late winter with freezing and thawing, my hives almost sometimes look like they're going to tip over. So let's start off level as we can now. And that way it won't tip over when it starts heaving and thawing. So be careful about that. You may want to level off your hives now. Also, secure your lids. I don't know about you, but I live out on the prairie here. We can have 20, 30, 40-mile-an-hour winter winds, and you don't want to lose a lid. So make sure that your lids are going to be well fastened down. While we're on the subjects of lids, real quick, you know, a lot of people are worried about opening their hive up because if you break that propolis seal, then we're worried that it won't seal again. Now, for me, I change out my winter bee kinds all winter long on the coldest of days. And what I've learned about a propolis seal is it's not just the heat. Yes, I admit the heat really makes it sit good, seal good. But I've noticed too, if there's propolis on your lid and there's propolis on the winter bee kind or whatever your boxes you're moving that lid off of, that sticks together really well if you put a little weight on it. So that's important to realize. Don't be afraid to break the propolis seal on the top cover to feed your bees. Just make sure you put a 30 or 40 pound cinder block on it to help it to seal again and not blow off, and keep that block on there. That's really important too. And then finally, last chance tips. In my last video, Patrick and I actually showed how you might rescue a hive that does not have a chance to survive the winter. A hive swarmed on me several weeks ago in the fall, and then they failed to make a queen. Obviously, bees, they're just not able to understand that their own congregations aren't full as they once were. Drones are being kicked out, and it's colder. There's less opportunity for queens to go out and mate. And they had plenty of queen swarm cells, and I saw them, and they were going to go out and mate. My fingers were crossed. But when Patrick and I inspected a few days ago, they were helplessly, hopelessly queenless. So the only thing that I had up my sleeve at that time was to combine it with the original hive they swarmed from that has a queen. So that video is good if you haven't watched that. But anyway, I moved it to a bermed area on the property to protect my bees from the north wind. I'm going to be moving all of my hives over there. Patrick and I are scratching our heads trying to figure out how to move them. And Patrick showed me these things that two strong people can wear over their shoulders, around their waist, and it kind of goes under a refrigerator. And you can, my last refrigerator I bought, two guys actually wore those, and they acted like it was nothing to wear those and move a refrigerator in. But anyway, Patrick and I may experiment, see if we can strap a hive to our bodies and not tip it over. And I told Patrick, if it works, that'll make a good video. And I said, if it doesn't work and they fall over and bees go everywhere, that will make a better video of us running and screaming like a schoolgirl, or bees are after us. That didn't work. Oh, shoot. But anyway, we're going to be moving probably 5 or 6 hives from the back building where it's just shaded, wet, and it's not a good place for them. So you may want to move your hives into a sunnier spot. Let's talk about when to move them. Well, I move them. I can move them now because no bees are going to forage. I'm not going to lose foragers. They're not foraging. And it's not really a bad time to move them, actually. It's, comfortable for us to be out there working, more cooler. And yeah, you can wait a little bit longer and wait till it gets cooler. But once your bees are done foraging and they're never going to forage again because you had a hard frost or something, it's fine to move your bees. But oh my gosh, my hives are 300 pounds. Full of bees and honey and 2 deeps and a super. Whoa, they're so heavy. I need like 6 people to pick up a hive. Yeah, I'd rather them be on pallets and use a fork truck, but that day is gone. All right. Well, that's the teaching for tonight. Good stuff on last chance tips that you're going to be doing here in the next few days, or maybe you've got a little bit more time, got a little like a week or something. But yeah, it's going to turn cold for all of us, and our inspections are going to be over really soon. As you can see in the background, I want to encourage you guys to please subscribe to my channel. Take a moment now to do that. It always helps me out. And take a moment to give me a thumbs up on this video. If you give me a thumbs up, YouTube will help this video go to more beekeepers that can learn and benefit from the teaching tonight. So take a moment, look down below the screen there, and click on the like button. Give me a thumbs up. Appreciate it a lot. All right, let's drop into the word of the day. I'm excited about the word of the day. And today's word is corbicula. Corbicula. How many of you know what the word corbicula means in beekeeping? Corbicula. Corbicula. Anybody know? I'm watching the chat there, see who's going to pick up on corbicula. Nobody's put in yet. Nobody's got anything in there. Come on, what does corbicula mean? No, it's not a giveaway. Don't put hashtag corbicula. Let's see. What does that word mean? It's oh, got it. Somebody got it. They're going by too fast. Let me look. Brandon, pollen sac on legs. Way to go, Brandon. You got it. So did Carrie. Good job. Amanda, good job. Some people said no clue. Ready to go, red beard hives. You got it. Did you cheat and look at Google? No, you're smart, aren't you? Well, as you can see here, that back leg, corbicula, it's a concaved area on the hind leg. You see there? And what's interesting is I use this magnifying glass, digital microscope, $33 at the time that I bought it. It might be a little higher and lower, I don't know, but it hooks to your smartphone, and I actually use it to take this picture of a corbicula on a honeybee. So it's a concave kind of big flat area on their hind leg. There are some hairs on the edges of that act as holding all of that pollen. It's a little wet. It's wet pollen. They hold it on their hind legs. That's how they carry pollen. There's a lot on their body, you can see. So the reason why it's wet, they add a little bit of nectar or saliva to that. Technically, I think you could call all pollen bee bread because it is slightly moist from the saliva, enzymes, I should say. But it's not entirely just 100% bee bread. But anyway, that's corbicula, that area back on that back leg where they have their pollen basket. Now, most of you know it as the pollen basket. And we think of a basket, like you pick strawberries and put them in a basket. It's not that. It doesn't look like that. So get your little microscope from Amazon or something, and then you can take a look at the corbicula and see exactly how it works. And the queen and the drone, they don't have that because they don't forage. They don't need to have that. So the worker bees are the ones that have the corbicula. Here you go. Word of the day. Kind of fun, isn't it? All right. I'm gearing up. I'm getting psyched up to answer your questions. Let me wet my whistle. And before you take questions, I'll talk about my upcoming speaking engagement in Pennsylvania. That's going to be exciting. It's the PSBA. And Sheri said, it looks like it says pastabeekeepers.org. But it's the Pennsylvania State Beekeepers.org. Some of you live in that area. It's going to be at State College, Pennsylvania. That's the name of the town. So if you want to join me, I'd love to have you there. There's going to be a lot of other great teachers, speakers presenting there as well on a lot of different subjects. I'll be presenting, I think, 4 times. And so if you can make it, there's the website. Go on there, log on. Love to have you join me. I always love to see Beak Squad members at these conferences. I can hang out with you, get to know you personally. That's always a lot of fun. So yeah, got that coming up. Now, also speaking in Texas, Waco, Texas. I don't have a screen for that, but you can look at Texas Beekeepers Association, and I'll be speaking there in November as well. The next weekend or weekend before Pennsylvania, can't remember. I'll be speaking down there. Maybe on queen rearing. They asked me to give some ideas, and I'm interested in talking about queen rearing. But anyway, that we'll see. Okie dokie. Well, let's get into some of your questions. I'm here to help you out. I'll use my almost 30 years of experience and my wisdom as a certified master beekeeper with the Eastern Apicultural Society to give you the best information I know. Okay. And if I don't have any clue, I'll let you know. Well, hello, Carrie. Good to see you. Fall inspection. When I got to the bottom box, the bottom had line of 20 plus bees on box front edge with backside in the air as if excreting Nasanov. No swarming. Any other reason for this position in Massachusetts? I'll tell you what, Carrie, what happens sometimes is when we work our hives, if we smoke them a lot of the bees will get airborne, or if you were doing something and you had your boxes separated, there was a lot of bees that were trying to find their way back into the colony. That could have been it. My goodness, there also could be a virgin queen coming back from mating flight, some of those things, but that's usually what it is. They're trying to help bees find their home. Thanks, Stan, for your donation tonight. Thank all of you for donating to the live stream tonight. Well, hello, Bob. Oh, Nora, getting emails on this as new mite treatment to maintain low mites. Thoughts on the treatment? I did an interview with the two fellas that back when I couldn't talk about it because it wasn't approved yet, but I did an interview. I got all the scoop on it. And yes, it's double-stranded RNA interference, and it keeps mites from reproducing. And their stats on their product looks very promising. They show, I believe it was a 70% better survival rate. Don't quote me on that, but it's something. It's phenomenal. But mites are still going to have to come in there in order to consume or get that protein ingested into the mite's body. They have to bite or eat, I think, larvae food or bite a bee or something like that. So you're still going to have to use something else. I don't think it's a standalone treatment, but it's going to go a long way. That's my take on it. Thank you, Mauro, for your super sticker tonight. Appreciate it. We're coming out with a lot of treatments this year, a lot of different treatment. I mean, man, when mites first hit, we didn't have anything. We were like dumbfounded. Gosh, now it's awesome. Hey, Katie, do bees move honey? Would they move it from the super where they're fed to the top super that we take? Yes, bees move honey anywhere they want it. I know when I was trying to make a living on honey, I would try to harvest my honey quickly before the bees moved it from the super above them down to the brood nest area. That was not wise of me because, that's what they need to eat on, and I was taking it. But yeah, they move honey like crazy. They're really good at it. Sunshine, I appreciated your email today in the picture, Sunshine. I'm looking forward to meeting with you and Chris soon. Thank you for your donation tonight. Maybe a silly question. Any way to give back propolis, burr comb, wax scraped off hive during inspections other than when coating new frames or wax? Drop it back in the box. Probably not. Patrick and I noticed one of the nuke boxes that we had over here a week ago. Bees were going in there after we used it up and there was no bees in it. There was some propolis on the walls. Bees were going in there and scraping the propolis off and going back to their hive with it. People can do that. I mean, bees are pretty good at getting their own things, but I understand you could try it and see what happens. Thank you for your donation, WG Wilder. Appreciate your donations to the live stream. Hey, Tim, are bee boxes made with box joints? Well, box joints is a common way. Finger joints, very common beekeeping boxes from way back. I really like the boxes that are rabbit joints, they're called. You shave off half of the edgewood on one side and half of the edgewood on another, and you connect them with exterior glue. And at that point, the wood will break before the boxes do. But a lot of people think that finger joints are better. So it just all depends. Yeah. Hey, Mark Spangler. Good to see you, Mark. Thank you for your donation tonight. Mark's the one that got us hooked on the magnifying lenses to wear when you do an inspection. Mark, that really helps me. Oh my gosh, I'm farsighted. So yeah, that's great. Don't have to get the sun behind me and the moon lined up with Jupiter to see an egg. That's crazy, isn't it? And on a cloudy day and you're in the shade, it's hard to find an egg. Man. Hey, Marianne, good to see you. Friend had me to add a whole box of drawn comb for the queen to lay in. But now I'm thinking it's too much room. Can she fill a medium box of 8 frames? I have 2 frames of honey and honey super. Well, I think she could. She lays 1,000 eggs a day. It might be slowing down a little bit now this time of the year, Marianne, but it's worth a try. Can you Do you have the right temperature to give it a week to see how she does? Be interesting to see. Won't know until you try it. Yeah. Bees don't always follow the things we think they will do. Not always. They do their own things sometimes. All right. What do we do so late in the season when our queen swarms? Yeah, I just made a video on that. And so I actually found I had some queens that I didn't know I could use. So now I've got more options. So I may take that hive back apart and use those queens to make it back into two, but I don't know. I think I'm going to keep them together, and I got to inspect all my hives, and then I'm going to make sure they're all queen right. If not, I'll use those queens that I found, and I'll be able to keep them queen right. But the only thing you can do is combine. It's probably the best thing. Hey, Wayne, good to see you. I answered your email today. Hope that was helpful. Good to see you. Thanks for your super sticker today, too. I answer a lot of beekeepers' questions on B Team 6. It's a mentorship program that I have. Alan, how do I deal with a laying worker in this late in the season? Alan, I'm sorry to hear that. If you get a warm day, you could try to combine it with a hive that's queen right. It's tough to deal with late in the year. It really is. And remember, laying worker only happens if they're 21 days without brood or 21 days without a queen. So try to inspect those hives a little more frequently. That'd be great. Hey, Jay. Jay Glosser became a YouTube member. I'm probably going to make that video tomorrow, by the way, on talking more about the video that I make. My goal, and I don't hold me to this, I sometimes I'm too much of an optimist, and I think too much that I can pull something off, and then I get into it too deep. But my goal right now is to have a video a week just for the members, and I'll take a video or two and talk more in depth about it. Don't hold me to it. I'm going to try. I think it'd be great. We'll see how that goes. But thanks for joining, Jay. Hi, Fred. Neighbor found a beehive under a metal stock feeder in a barn. Wants it gone. Is it too late to try and cut out comb and put it in a hive? No spare comb for them. East Tennessee. Well, if you're good at doing this, you're going to take the comb out and tie it into or rubber band it into frames without foundation. Use their own comb. Not too late. I mean, he wants them gone. Do it. Try it. But videotape it. It's going to be a big adventure. Hello, Jay. Thank you for your super sticker donation. I appreciate it. All your donations help us to have more giveaways, have guest speakers. So we put it right back in the live stream. So it just makes a better live stream, and I appreciate your donations a lot. If you don't want to donate here on YouTube, you can always go to our website, honeybeesonline.com, and many of you make donations there. There's a link to donate to the live stream from honeybeesonline.com, scrolling across the bottom. Tom, how are you? When do you change your robber screens to mouse guard setup? Yeah, well, like for me right now, there won't be any robbing anymore because bees aren't foraging. I could do it now. So look at your hive when the foraging is over. They're not foraging anymore because colder nights are keeping them, not really going after stuff. I think you could do it then. Yep. Mouse guards are so important too. Thanks, Marianne, for your super sticker. You guys are really kind to support the live stream. Always takes a little bit of pennies to make the mission happen. So I appreciate it. If you find a swarm this late in the year and you know it was one of your hives, can you capture and recombine after knocking down any queen cells and left behind in the hive? Yes, you can. And I would strongly urge you to do that. That's what I did in the last video. I just did it with a big gap between when they swarmed and when I combined them. But if you want to do it more quickly, it's still iffy because sometimes they don't accept that queen after they swarm. So you might still have to put her in a cage with some candy behind her. Thanks, David Young, for your super sticker tonight. David, appreciate it. Hi, Leslie. If I have robbing screens on the hive, how do dead bees get removed? Do we need to help them out? It's possible. I understand that. It's maybe they can pull them up and out. They're quite capable of even flying with dead bees. So I think they can do it. But when you get ready to take off that robber screen, Leslie, why don't you just get a scraper, those little blue scrapers that Be Smart makes. Go ahead and see if you can clean it out a little bit in case they couldn't do it. Yeah, just see how well they did. Yeah. Okay, Ricky. My hives are kicking out drones, but it seems they are all going to a couple of hives that are just letting them in. I checked for worker eggs, larvae, and queen right. Why are they letting them in? Yeah, Ricky, that's a very good question. You know, some drones overwinter with bees, with the colony. It's not uncommon. I guess some guys just are big talkers. Hey, EL, thank you for your super sticker. Yeah, I guess some guys are fancy talkers and they talk their way in and they get a free ride in the wintertime. Hey, you know, this hive over here is killing us. Can we come and stay over here? And like, yeah, we got room. Come on in. We got plenty of honey. Nobody knows why they do that. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Glad you checked for queen, though. That was smart. Sometimes a hive doesn't have a queen. They won't kill their drones, even though their drones won't mate with the queen from that hive because that would be brother and sister. That doesn't work. But it still kind of triggers them not to kill their drones if they're queenless. Well, hello, Matt. Like your cowboy hat there. What's the best way to overwinter a nuke in Pennsylvania? Raise it into a big hive with 2 deeps and a honey super and put them in that and then feed them a winter be kind in the wintertime. I don't know. That was what I would do. Hey, if you're going to overwinter a nuke in Pennsylvania, which is those of you that don't know what a nuke is, it's a 5-frame, usually 5-frame box of bees. Hey, Justin, thanks for your super sticker. And it's hard to get nukes through the winter. It's possible. A lot of people do it. I've done it. You got to feed them, keep them wrapped up. They don't have a lot of heaters in there, heater bees, and they don't have a lot of stored food. They're smaller. It's iffy. Wind block food, low mite count, good queen. Fingers crossed. Cross your fingers. Yeah, that's pretty tough. D Green, with the warmer weather, can a hive get too big going into winter and fail in the winter? They seem to be increasing their winter stores. No, I don't think so. I really don't. Here's the deal. Please remember, all of you listen carefully. I need a little screen to flash up when I say something important, which is like 3 times the live stream. No, I'm kidding. But all the bees that you see in there now, a lot of them, I would say more than half of the adult bees now are summer bees that only live 45 days. They're going to die real quickly. They'll be dead by half your colony of adult bees will be dead by Christmas. So it may look crowded now. Remember, though, they're kicking out 200 to 2,000 drones. That's going to make room. And all of these bees that were foragers a week or 2 ago on goldenrod, they're done. They're just waiting to die. So keep that in mind. Yep, population is going to decrease. Hello, Brian Hill. Thanks for your donation tonight. It's always good to hear from you, Brian. How do I send a picture to, let's see, how do I send you a picture to help me identify something me or nor my mentor has seen before? Yeah. You could send it to, let me see. Let me look at my team here for their guidance on this. You could send it to honeybeesonline.com@gmail.com. Is that the email, Sheri? Yeah. honeybeesonline.com@gmail.com. Now, if all of you want to write me that email address and try to reach me, it doesn't go to me. It goes to my team, and then they will send, like people don't want me to speak, they email that address and then they send that to me. So I can't promise I'll answer all your emails, but I'll watch for yours, Brian, and my team knows to be watching. We'll try to identify that. I love identifying things with pictures, if it's a good picture. Ross, you've been a member on YouTube for 18 months. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it. It's like you're a fisherman and a hunter. Packed down my hives 2 weeks ago. Ready for winter. So chaotic, swapping frames. I wanted to inspect one more time here in Wisconsin. Quick egg check. Is it too late? Go by the time. Doesn't matter where you live. Use the temperature gauge thermometer. 65 degrees or warmer, you can open them up and take a look. It'll be fine. Yep. Alrighty. let's take a pause. We'll take one more question, then we'll take a pause for our giveaway. Please don't put any hashtag, anything in there yet. We got a special hashtag in just a minute. Hey, Michael, would you recommend adding a vitamin C powder to 1-to-1 syrup after a mite treatment to help them recover from the stress of treatment? You know, vitamin C is that magic vitamin that many people claim it's so good for humans. And a lot, I did studies long ago on it, and a lot of people say it's good for bees. I do not have any studies at the top of my head where I know it's really good for bees or not. Remember, bees only live 35 days, 45 days. You know, we live 80, 90 years. We need vitamins and micronutrients and all, but bees aren't so much that way. Winter bees maybe, but they should get everything they need through natural sterols and pollen and all the thing, bee bread and everything. Michael, I'm going to say that's on you to do your own little study and see. That's a vitamin C, by the way, would be ascorbic acid. You would buy those at the, vitamin shop or a pharmacy, buy ascorbic acid, and you could grind those little vitamin C powder things up, and you decide how much you want to give your bees. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. Okay, let's do the giveaway. We're going to give away, what did I decide to do? I decided to give away our feeder. Man, it's so good to feed your bees right now. They need to be fed. Look at this. This is my feeder that I invented, and it's so nice of a way to feed your bees with the jars. Lay it on top of your hive like this. If you have pollen patties that you're in love with, push it through here, or put your jars in here, put another box around it with a lid, and that's going to be great. So that'd be a great thing to use. What is our hashtag word, Robbie? Let's see. Oh, it's food. Some of you put feeder. That won't work. So always wait until we give you, please, always wait until we give you the actual hashtag. Hashtag food. Please don't enter it more than once. That just makes it difficult for the team here. Believe me, if you get it in there one time, that's all you need to do. It doesn't help you to do it more than once. It does not. We've already asked the people that designed the program, and they said, no, it doesn't help at all. So one time, hashtag food, feeding your bees in the wintertime. We'll get this shipped out to you. Oh, by the way, please tell us if you have an 8-frame hive or a 10-frame. We make the feeders in both sizes. So if you have only 8 frames in your hive, then that would be a smaller feeder, 2 frames smaller. So make sure if you win, to tell us that, okay? Very good. Yeah. Hashtag food, helping you with your feeders. A lot of you buy these from our website. You can buy them if you don't win. honeybeesonline.com. Be sure and check that out. You are rapidly buying these this time of the year. We used to not be able to keep up with the demand, but we're doing that lately. So that's been really good. We have a special place that's making these for us now, so that's helped out a lot. Okay, let's draw a winner. Hashtag food really quickly. Get that in there if you're just now hearing about it. No advantage for putting your name in more than once. Hashtag food. Bees want food. Okay, let's see who will win tonight. The feeder. Really nice to get one of these. Yeah. All right, look at the names going by really quickly. A lot of you are here tonight. Big crowd. About 700 of you have joined in the live stream tonight. Oh, John Marr. Congratulations, John. You're the winner of the feeder. Be sure and tell us if you have an 8-frame hive or a 10-frame hive. And then email us within 24 hours to beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. Scrolling across the bottom there. beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. Please let us know in 24 hours your mail or your UPS address, your actual shipping address. We have to do it within 24 hours because life goes on and we will forget about it. So do that as quickly as you can. That will be much appreciated. Yeah, you bet. All right, let me hit some of your more questions. I want to clear out so many questions. I'll tell the team if you can kind of rapid fire the questions. I'll answer as many as I can, as rapidly as I can. And let's see how that goes, okay? Let's start with Russ. That's a long one, but we'll start. It won't be real rapid. Have you ever done side-by-side survival comparison using bees from drastically different regions It seems local adaptations could really be important. I wrote an article for the American Bee Journal along with Dr. John Zavishlak many years ago. We studied that, bees are bees. It didn't seem to make a lot of difference. It could, but not really. Yeah. Roger, how long does a drone typically live? About the same as a worker bee, I would say, roughly about 45 days. A lot less if they're successful. If they have a successful mating flight, they're done. I should do that somewhere else, but you get the idea. All right, David, with my hive reducers turned down, is that good enough for the girls to drag out? Oh, the dead. Yeah. If you got the opening on the bottom of the bottom board, they'll drag them out. No problem. Don't worry about that. Bees dissect their sisters to get them out of the hive. Tom, how long after a queen replacement should I expect to see the colony characteristics change, such as defensive, hygienic food storage? About 40 days, roughly 45 days. Yep. When wrapping the beehives, any tips to avoid condensation inside the hive? There's a lot of talk today about the condensing hive and all that, so you can reduce condensation. But yeah, the condensation generally runs down the walls if they're heavily insulated on top. So it's not much of a worry. Bees can control that. Hi, Amanda. Condensing hive or ventilated hives for winter, I think both can work really well. If you're an experienced beekeeper, you can make both of those work really well. Absolutely. My friend Bill Hesbaugh is the godfather of the condensing hive, by the way. Tim, moving a hive in November to a sunnier spot? Yeah, me too. Come help me, Tim. Will I lose any bees when they do a cleansing flight? Oh, no. They won't. They'll fly right back in. No problem. Don't worry about it. Idaho Fishing and Outdoors, first year beekeeper here in northern Idaho. Do you think solar beehive warmers actually work as well as they are advertised? I don't know. Never used one. Buy one, try it, and keep us updated. You won't know until you do your own experiment. Yep, I'd try her out. How long does a queen live? 2 to 3 years generally. We don't trust it after year 3 because they can stop. It's not that they die. They just run out of stored sperm and can't lay anymore. And then they kick her out and supersede her. Lara, last week in local bee club, we learned about the war between honeybee prey and hornet predators, especially the Asian giant hornet that arrived in the U.S. Very worrying. Yeah, I mean, bees can take care of it. We're doing a lot to control that. I'm not worried about that. Maybe I should be. Hey, Gail, forestry guy cut a tree down in the woods and the bees in it, cut it in half, husband put back together. If queen not injured, can it make it through winter? If top covered to keep the rain out? Yeah, I've done that before. Arborists will bring trees out here that they found bees in. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. They're not treated for mites. Mites usually kill them. Do bees ever slow down eating if you feed every day? My girls are destroying 1-to-1 within a few hours. They need that, Brian. Yeah, they may slow down, but you'll stop feeding them when the temperature gets cooler. This is fun. I'm rapidly answering these questions. Hey, Scott, good to see you. Had a few swarms move into empty boxes the past week. Wow, really? One moved into an empty Pro Nuke. Okay, I've got some of those. Are Pro Nukes acceptable for overwintering? I'm in Southeast Louisiana. Probably. They're really thin plastic, orange and yellow tops. I don't know. It's going to be iffy. I wrap it, maybe. But Louisiana is warmer. My brother lives in Louisiana. Hey, Joel, I've had a fall swarm a month ago. I waited 2 weeks. New queen had gotten above the queen excluder. That's weird. And was laying in honey super. I was going to harvest. I removed the excluder. Next moves. Push her back down. Get her back down in the brood area. Take the honey super off once you harvest it. All right. Couple of more rolling in, fast ones. These questions are really good. You guys, I know you're struggling with a lot of fall things going on. So, I'm always here to help you guys. I know that I make a lot of videos, and these videos always generate a lot of questions. I try to answer them, but this is the best place for you to give your questions. Is it common to see a lot of bees dying off, and how many bees does it go on before it slows down? John, I think bees, a lot of them are probably drones that you're seeing being killed off this time of the year. Yeah, winter bees are dying off. It's not that uncommon. Warning, warning, those of you that aren't experienced beekeepers in the winter yet, when you have a heavy snow and you can, all around your bees, and you get a warm up day where they can take a cleansing flight, you will see hundreds of dead bees in the snow. Do not be alarmed. That's a good sign, actually. Did you ever have success using a horizontal hive? Yes and no. Not really. I do have a Lands hive that's horizontal, and it's in its second year, survived winter well last year. But I had a horizontal Langstroth, didn't do well. But my Lands hive is doing good, really good, second year. Kind of hit and miss. Is it okay to feed with outside feeders as long as they're away from the hive? It's not always legal in every state. It can induce robbing. So do it cautiously and be careful. It's better to feed within the colony from the top this time of the year. No interest feeders. Okay. This will be our last question. We're running out of time. I got a few things to say before we leave. David, a hive had a fall swarm a month ago. I waited 2 weeks. The new queen had gotten I already did that one. I already talked to Joel. All right. Okay. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to take a few minutes here as we wrap up to tell you about a few things and just encourage you. Thank you, Carla, for your super sticker tonight. I want to encourage you guys, as always, that I know you're interested in manipulating your frames and wrapping your hives and feeding your bees and buying the new gadgets and gizmos and feeders and fondants and buying all the new hives that are better insulated. There's so many things like that. But remember, a better approach is for you to know bee biology as thoroughly as you can. So try to really dig in. I've made some videos here on my channel about bee biology. So please spend time understanding bees. The better you are at reading your bees when you do an inspection and helping them when they need help, I think that's going to be more important than buying a gadget or a certain thing to get them through winter. If they're healthy, they don't need as much help to get through winter. If they're strong, healthy, mite resistant, good brood, healthy queen, and good resources, they're going to get through winter really well. So remember, I don't want to say this to discourage you. I want to encourage you. But a lot of the losses that we see are pilot error. It's a beekeeper error that failed to miss something. Now, you get a pass if you're new. It's just going to take a few years to understand that. I get it. It took me a few years. I wasn't born knowing how to keep bees. So be patient with yourself. If you have some losses in the fall or this winter, please don't give up. Do what you can right now with my last chance tips to kind of make everything good and do your best you can to make your hive strong. That's going to really be helpful for you as well. Yeah, it's going to help. Also, if you're able to listen to a podcast that was where I was interviewed on two bees in a podcast, that's Dr. Jamie Ellis and Amy Wu. If you want to listen to them interview me, I've got a link to that video in our podcast in my last video. You can listen. It might be something you would enjoy listening to in that podcast. As always, I want to thank Sheri, Robbie, and Carrie tonight. Jessica had a wedding preparation night tonight. She couldn't be here. So I know a lot of you missed Jessica. She hated not to be able to be here, but she's got the night off. I want to thank our team for being here and thank Patrick, our videographer, making the YouTube channel successful. Guys, I think you're great. You're awesome. I'm here to help you. Be encouraged. Whatever you're going through in life, take a deep breath. You can make it. You can get through that. I'm here for you as your friend. And I thank you for welcoming me into your home, into your, on your computer, your TV, your phone tonight, whatever. And it's fun hanging out with you guys. It really is. You're a hoot. So I want to thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And I'll say good night for now. Take care.